Hi, welcome to the program. Mr. Abu Bakarr Kamara.
Thank you, sir. Welcome to.
How would you describe yourself apart from being a politician?
Well, apart from politics, I'm a family person. Um, a cool-headed person. Um, I love social activities. Um, I'm a philanthropist. I helped a lot of people. As a lawyer, I'm a qualified lawyer myself, and I'm qualified in immigration, housing, and family. So, beside politics, I have a lot of things I do outside politics.
Great. What are some of your political strengths? So now if we come into politics.
Oh, there's a lot. One of my political strengths is the experience I gained from my father. Work as a local clerk in a local court for the past 3 years during the 90s made me the person I am today. A strength of how to negotiate between people. Listening is one of my strengths. And don't talk too much. Believe the two sides of the story and make a decision. And that makes one of my political strengths. And the second strength I have in politics is how to put my case across. And I believe when I do so, everybody will look where I'm coming from. Thirdly, it's about good governance. I believe in good governance, and that's the reason I even joined politics. I'm an advocate of good governance. So I became an ABC member in the 90s at the Bintumani Hotel, and I was inspired by Chief Abu Black to join that time, but I didn't. So I decided that I'll do it at my own time. So coming back to the question about political strength, is a lot of aspect in it. You don't use political strength in terms of education. You use common sense. And when you apply common sense in politics, your strength is nowhere to be compared to.
And you believe you have that common sense?
Oh yes, I have common sense. And that's the strength I have. And that's what I'm using against my opponent. Common sense.
Right. You've been into politics for quite a long time now, and you haven't been interested in becoming the chairman for this particular branch, APC UK and Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you choose to be one of the aspirants for this particular position as it is right now?
Thank you. It's simple. Yes, you rightly say so. I decided to enter the race because I believe there is no captain.
When you say there is no captain, what exactly do you mean?
What I exactly mean, there is no one to control the ship in the UK and Ireland branch. After the failed election between my current aspirant and the interim executive did not prevail. And they did their best, they're doing their best, and to be fair on them. But the ship is not steering into the right direction. And he needs a leader. He needs someone who is a cool-headed person, someone who can compromise, someone who can say, all right, let's forget the bygone, I'm ready, hands up. Someone who can forgive, someone who can stand there and be in abuse and do reflect to the other side. Someone who can go for peace as far as it's cost. And that's my strength. I believe in peace and unity.
Okay.
Because nothing like that is existing at the moment. And I believe I am the right person because I have the attribute to do that.
Okay, I know things have been going down the drain within the past couple of years with the party itself. And I know you've seen the difficult times, you've seen the best times. So, what will be some of the things that you might want to change or improve as you want to vouch to be the chairman currently?
Like, I have a lot of expectations, and I want those expectations to come into reality. You know, the APC party is a great party, but we lacked certain aspects of the community, what the community is expecting from us. If I become a chairman on Monday, one thing I would like to do first is to work with the government, the current president. I want to do something about education in Sierra Leone, health facility. I want to work with the government, my talent, my experience with the executive committee. In the first place, let me say something to you. If I become a chairman on Monday, I want to have an executive committee across the board.
When you say across the board, what are you talking about?
I want to bring my political, I don't have political opponent, my comrades. I want to bring them together, to work together.
Okay.
If I lose, I'll work with them too. If they lose, I want them to come together and form an executive committee across the board, which is those aspirants who did not succeed in winning the election. I want to bring them together because I always believe they have a role to play.
Right.
Yeah, I always.
So, can you tell me what are some of your greatest accomplishments within the past years as you've been into politics?
It's a lot. I've supported the party when we are not in government. And even before the current president came to power, I supported the party.
That was the days of the SLPP?
The SLPP. And when Eddie Toure was the only flag bearer in Sierra Leone, we campaigned in the UK. Myself, people like Bakarr Stevens, Aliyu Azamta, etc., etc., a lot of them, we came together in the UK, we tried to strengthen the party. Then here comes Ernest Kuruma. We fought the first election. We went to the second round. I don't want to talk about the financial aspect about it. We fought tooth and nail to make sure that we come back to power. So one of the things I was successful doing is to go out there, knocking at each door of Sierra Leoneans, talking to them about the party, the values of the party. And the second thing about myself, what I've achieved, is a lot. I don't look at you because of your tribe.
Right.
I look at every Sierra Leonean as one Sierra Leone, one nation. I don't look at you whether you're a Mende, Timni, or Limba. And that's the way I spread my message. So that's a big achievement to me. And as a lawyer, I helped across the board. I resolve cases. Not even in my office at home. I open my door for everybody, Monday to Sunday, even with the expense of my relationship. So people come to my house every time of the day, every hour, every minute. My phone is 24 hours. I don't turn it off. If you call me, you don't get me, I'll call you back. If you text me, you don't get me, I'll text you back. So those are some of my successes. There is a lot down the line. Social activities, I've done a lot in life. I formed associations which are successful.
Okay.
So, and those are charity associations. So I'm currently, two of them, I'm the chairman of those associations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now let's go back to some other serious issues. APC has been branded as one of the most corrupt political parties in Sierra Leone. If you become leader in the UK, how would you put the end to this massive scandal?
Well, it's a difficult question to say it's one of the most corrupt party. And it's also difficult to define it. Corruption is everywhere. But when corruption goes above certain limit, then it is no longer corruption, it's bad governance. And myself, I always fight for transparency and good governance. So I believe in working with the government, the current government, and the future government to make sure that we tackle corruption. We're not going to eradicate. I'm not going to sit down here and say, oh, don't worry, when I become chairman, that's the end of corruption. Even in the UK, we have corruption, but corruption is transparent. You can't be punished. And that's what I want to see. People who are corrupt being punished, face the full strength of the law. I want to work with the Sierra Leone judiciary, with my experience, first to see whether we can have what we have here as the this Crown Prosecution Service.
Okay.
I don't believe that we should have a policeman arrest you and at the same time he's the one prosecuting you.
Right.
I want to see something. It's something that I'm very, very passionate about. I want to advocate for a special prosecution, Sierra Leone Special Prosecution Service, which comprise across the board the local authorities, the lawyers, barristers, and even lay people who have common sense.
Right.
Those are the things I want to work with the government and make sure that those who are corrupt have faced the full force of the law. But when you have a police officer arrest you, at the same time taking the statement, at the same time charging, at the same time goes to court and prosecute you, cases, they fail.
It makes it all looks like it's planned.
Exactly.
And nobody knows what's the difference between other person's view.
Exactly.
Okay.
You see, so I'm passionate about it. I'm really going to fight tooth and nail with that, to work with the government and make sure that we put those proposals before the government and the Attorney General and see where I'm coming from.
Now, as you're clearly making a statement in terms of the corruption question that I asked you, what will you say about the current state of the government and the administration that is currently running in Freetown?
It's really hard for them, and I feel I have a lot of admiration for the current president. When he came to power, he's genuinely a true Sierra Leonean, love for Sierra Leone. I think agenda for prosperity, I think, is a vast meaning, to achieve agenda for prosperity for everyone. I just think it's too big.
So what changes the dimension of what he had when he first came into power?
Well, a couple of things. One, bad luck. When you want to do good things and then you're struck by the Ebola. But listen, make no mistakes. It's not an excuse.
Exactly, I was just going to say. Because Ebola just came about
it just came about. Difficulty started already before the Ebola.
Right.
But when you're a football captain, or you're a manager of a football team, you captain the team, you manage the team, you've given instructions to your other players and say, this is the way we're going to play the 4-4-2. And those people went to the football pitch and do different kind of things.
So what would you do to them to rectify administration?
Well, there are a lot of things to do. Some people will say, get rid of them. Some people will say, put them in prison. Some people will say, oh, get a firing bullet on them.
What would you say?
What will I say? Those people should face the full force of the law.
And what will be the full force of the law in terms of the capacity of civil?
This is where we come again. Get a team of trained police officers, good lawyers, and I know some people say let's eradicate bad lawyers. Everywhere, even in the UK, we have bad lawyers.
Right.
We have corrupt lawyers, dodgy ones. But I believe if you want to eradicate this thing, you don't eradicate them, you minimize them to a level that is acceptable to the community.
Right.
The current situation is not acceptable to the community.
Definitely not.
No, it's not. I'm not going to sit down here and say to you, oh, everything is fine. So, one thing I would work with the government. I'm not the president. I'm only the chairman. But I'll put proposals. I'll say, look, we believe this is the right way to go about things. Have a look at this. Let's help you here. One, make sure whosoever fall foul of the law, we have to set an example.
But there's been a lot of people that fall foul of the law within the past
Yeah,
years,
when it
and
goes,
nothing has gone.
well, that's why it has to change.
So how will you implement your own structure in terms of helping the administration in civilian?
A strong judiciary, independence of the judiciary has to be observed. And if we don't have an independence of the judiciary, it means we'll fail. Whichever law you bring in, you fail. Because the independence of the judiciary is not independent. We have to have proper separation of powers.
So how would that be possible in civilian when the president is the main appointment? I mean, he is responsible for all the major appointments in the country.
It's always difficult. Well, I'll be honest with you. But I don't want to keep blaming president. The president, I repeat, he's just a football manager. He managed this thing. Although he's responsible for whatever goes wrong, in the UK or wherever, when you manage a team, you're not successful. You get sacked.
Right. I was just going to mention it because in London, if you're leading any delegation and that delegation failed, you automatically resign or they sack you straight away.
Yeah, but listen, let's don't compare the democracy in the Western world to that of Africa. I know we have 50 years of independence. I know people will say, well, you should be doing better now. And they are right. When you look at a country like Malaysia, I think we got independent before Malaysia. They are now one of the best countries in the world. And you look at, like, I don't want to keep going there, look at Ghana. I think we have to change our attitudes.
So should that bring me back to the question on saying, is it the fault of bad governance and administration?
It's a bit of both. I don't want to keep blaming the current administration and say it's the fault of bad governance or the fault of this, is the fault of that. For the fact that we cannot establish certain evidence. What I always believe that the Constitution of Sierra Leone is not a modern constitution.
Right.
Yeah. And this is something, again, I'm passionate about.
But it has been revisited, but we still haven't got an outcome of it yet.
No.
So how soon will that outcome be available?
It has to be soon. Even if not the current administration, but the next president has to really look into that. The Constitution of Sierra Leone, I may say, it's not a modern constitution. It doesn't fit the purpose of the modern activities, what we are doing now. We're now having human rights issues. And we're having a lot of things where people are aware of their rights. Social media is there now. So those constitutions are drawn up after the colonial days. And we cannot continue to use them.
Okay.
Yeah. As a chairman, I'll be advocating with the president or the administration to say, look, let's have a national conference to draw up a proper constitution for the country.
We'll take a quick break and we'll carry on with the discussion. Right, welcome back again. We're going to move on with the discussion. And we've just finished talking about the good governance and administration, or bad governance and administration, which I mentioned earlier on, whether it's part of the reason why Sierra Leone is what it is today. Now, let's focus on one thing very serious. We are in the diaspora, specifically in the UK. Do you really think Sierra Leoneans in Sierra Leone will listen to the voice of the diaspora when some of us have actually gone back home and joined the system of corruption, throwing away all the values of politics that we've learned from the West?
No, at this current situation, no, we have to change our attitudes. I think the diasporans, majority of us, we let down our fellow Sierra Leoneans back home. Opportunities has been given to us.
Right.
We go there with our CVs. We are being drawn into government or into administrations, but we fail. We have to put into practice what we've been taught in the Western world. And that's what people are expecting us to do. And that's the administration of people. When you travel abroad, they say, oh, my son, my brother is now a graduate, is now a lawyer, is now an accountant. But when you go back home to serve your community or the nation, you fail. Why? This is where we need to investigate. Why? Is it because they are poorly paid? Is it because they are being threatened to join the system? Are facilities not there provided for them?
Well, I've spent possibly within the past 5 years, I've been in and out of Sierra Leone on a regular basis, and I spent even more time there than I have actually lived in the UK for the past 7 years. And I think they've been given all the best encouragement. They're highly paid. They've got more facilities, but some of the rumors were based on qualification. Most of their qualifications are not original. Some of their qualifications are fake, which is actually not giving them the opportunity to deliver. How would you reinstate the fact that people's qualification or CVs actually matches to what they're actually saying they're doing? Because it has been a very difficult challenge for us there.
It is, but I think the current government is handling that situation very good now, because in the past, people carrying fake documents or fake certificate. And when you ask a cleaner to become a foreign minister, then definitely you're asking too much for that person.
Right.
But the president will only have to look at the CV and believe in you that what you presented to him or the public administration department is true and nothing else but the truth.
Are these CVs being verified, which will bring me back to administration?
This is why I said the current government is doing well on that side, and now they have a system now that they do all their best to verify these documents, these CVs, and if they find out that these CVs are fake, definitely, I think you have to be removed from the position and prosecuted for what you presented for fraudulent and for using fake documents. The penalties must be high.
But has there been any punishment? Because there have been a lot of fake
well, I haven't heard of one yet, but I believe there is some, because the system is there now, so people are scared to do it now. And now, because of the media now, people can expose these things, you know.
So what has been done to those who were caught in the act?
Well, I don't have the records here, but I believe there is something on the pipeline to do something about it. But I cannot tell you the statistics that this is what has been done. But I think the president is highly focused on those issues now. So, although I don't have a fact to tell you that, well, these are the people who have been prosecuted because of fake documents. But going back to your original questions, we have to strengthen the system, make sure that vigorous checks are being done before even the job is offered.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we have to what we call a period like 2 or 3 months to investigate and make sure we get results back quickly as possible. That's why we have embassies. You know, before you make those appointments, liaise with the embassy in a particular region, like in the UK, we have embassies that they should help us to verify this document with the universities,
right,
and wherever the person was working. And another thing I'm saying, some people have even committed offenses here, but they don't declare these things. But we can work with the current, like in the UK, we can work with the police. They are here, they can help us.
Right.
Like system of like a CRB. Let's get the CRB checked. And
see if anybody hasn't been committing any crime for
any
them
crime.
To go and work in
yes.
civilian.
Yeah, if he committed an offense here, let's say a rape offense or a fraudulent offense, you should not be given certain jobs. And we can only do that by introducing those systems.
So how would you think Sierra Leoneans will be convinced with the next set of diaspora that are planning to go back to Sierra Leone and get involved in politics?
I think the next set of diaspora, including myself, I can say we are different. And I can see, I can feel it, I can sense it that we've let ourselves down for quite a long time. And we have a case to prove to the Sierra Leoneans back home and say, look, we are different. We are ready to make the difference to you guys. You're expecting a lot from us, and we are here to deliver. And myself, whether I win the election or not, I'm ready to go there and help the community and just make something different to them.
Right. Sierra Leone is mainly governed by two political parties, which is the APC and SAPP. And we know there's been a lot of infighting. There is a lot of disputes. There's a lot of people saying this and people saying that. If you become the chairman of the APC UK and Ireland branch, as we do also have the SLPP UK and Ireland branch, how would you work together for one main goal, as in promoting Sierra Leone, or for the benefit of Sierra Leoneans both in the diaspora and in Sierra Leone?
I think one of your previous questions, I did mention to you that Sierra Leone is one. Whether you're Timni, Limba, Mende, so we are all one. Right. As a chairman, if I've been elected on Sunday, I don't have any grudge or any issues with the SLPP. If I have a lot of friends who are in the SLPP, I want to work with them. I want to see where we can forge one common sense for the benefit of Sierra Leone. You don't sit down there because you are an APC chairman or you don't want to work with them, with the other party. Especially on the issue of one of my manifestos, I said to you, if I become a chairman, I will do an independence that's free for all.
Right.
And if I'm going to do that, you have to work with the other parties.
Yep, sure. Definitely.
You have to bring them to the fore. You don't sit down and say, well, I'm going to do independent party for APC. No, that's not an independent.
True.
So one thing I'll do, I'll make sure that I work with the other opposition, not only the SLPP, other parties, and let's come together and work for the interests of Sierra Leone.
So you've mentioned the Independence Party is going to be one of your major tasks that you want to bring people together. Is. What will be your second options?
My second options after the Independence Party is to have a proper APC office in the UK. You know, because I think we are a party in government, in power for the past 80 years. We should have at least an address, a proper address, that if I want to put my case, I'll go to that particular address and say, this is where the APC secretariat is.
So where do you reside right now?
Well, I don't know.
You mean APC in power has not got any definite address in the UK?
Yeah, well, I don't have answers for that at the moment, but I think we haven't got one yet. So, but that is one of my priorities. I have to work with the president and the Secretary General back home to make sure that we have these facilities. We're not going to ask them to give us money. We're going to do fundraising, dinner and dance, and other things, activities that we can able to afford to pay the rent. Okay. And other things. We're not going, it's nothing the central government is going to give us on that, but we just need their blessing and say, look, this is what I want to do. I'm looking for a one-bedroom flat. That the president will be able to write me a letter, or I'll communicate with them.
So are you going to be responsible for paying their salaries as well?
From what the proceeds we are getting, we're going to ask for a lot of volunteers. Okay. We start with volunteers. Okay. We're not going to have people fully paid members there to say workers to work in those in that particular office. Myself as a chairman, I'm not a paid staff, so it's a voluntary job. So we advocate. We have a lot of good people in the party that are ready to sacrifice. They've done it before. Okay. So why not? They will be proud to say, I'm going, instead of them going to the embassy. We don't want to see them in the embassy. We want to see them in the APC office.
So the embassy is basically hosting all your delegates coming to the UK?
Well, I don't know. I haven't got a clue. I haven't got a clue. I don't know who will be hosting them. But I always believe that.
No, currently, who is hosting them when they come to the UK?
Well, I believe when a minister comes to the country, the High Commissioner is always responsible for them. Okay. And that's part of the High Commissioner's job. But when it comes to political issues, the High Commissioner is a separate body on that issue, despite their affiliations on that. So my manifesto is to establish a proper APC office in the diaspora, especially in the UK. Come on, we are big, we can do it.
Sure. Yeah. Let's take a break, we'll come back and continue the discussion. Hi, welcome back to the program. I think we've done a lot of discussions in terms of what we actually sitting here for, and you've given me a vast insight of what your plans are if you become the next chairman for APC UKNI. Now, let's go to some serious issues. You mentioned in your manifesto that you want to make it very simple for the aspirants to get symbols in Sierra Leone. How are you going to facilitate that?
Definitely. I'm passionate with that. We have a lot of talent in the diaspora, but at the current situation is so frustrating when people goes back home to go and fight to get symbol. They find it difficult where to start.
Why?
Well, I don't know. I don't have answers for that yet, but it's something we have to set up a team within the executive committee. We need to get a proper candidate. We want to do a vetting system before ever you leave here and go back home and fight for symbol. We want to make sure that we do our vetting here. Like earlier we talked about checks. We have to do our own checks here. We want the central government to say, well, we have somebody who's there, but what did you say about this person? We can give a proper CIP for that person because we live in the UK. It's easy for us to have proper checks for that person. And whether that person is a fully paid member within the diaspora or what has it done in the diaspora. Charity begins at home.
Right.
You cannot just leave here and go back home. This is where people are disappointed. They just leave here and say, tomorrow I'm going to stand election. For what? You've not done anything here. You've not even done charity stuff here. You've not even taken part in any of these things. So and now you're going back home because you have money. You're going back there, get you elected in being a member of parliament, and then you don't deliver. And this is why people are disappointed with the diaspora. So we want to start it here. That's why my manifesto said we want to make it simple for people to access symbol. When I say simple, it's not that we want to make sure that when you register with us, you qualify. No. We want people to be fit for the purpose, fit for what they are standing.
So basically your record speaks for itself.
It's for itself, yeah. So definitely we want to work with the central government or the central party headquarters, with the Secretary General, and the body that gives symbols and say, look, this is what we think about this person. So
would you recommend somebody who hasn't been to Sierra Leone for 10 years and want to go and take part in politics in Sierra Leone for the first time?
I won't.
So how would you make those recommendations if there is somebody in Sierra Leone who is representing the people in the ground and that person is going to be giving priority from someone who is coming from the diaspora that hasn't been to the constituency for possibly 10 years of his life or her life? How would you make recommendation for that person?
I believe myself with whosoever in the committee, executive committee, find it difficult to recommend someone who have not been in Sierra Leone for the past 10 or 15 years.
Right.
Just to go and get a symbol. One, look, there is no bond between you and the community. They don't know you. You've not been there. You just don't go there and say, I'm the candidate for this place and I'm coming to. Because you have money or because of your affiliation with other people, you fail. The tendency for you to fail is high. So we say, go back home, go and meet the people you want to represent, see whether they like you, see whether you can do voluntary jobs, whether you can work with them, and then take it from there. Pay your tax. If you want to pay tax back home, pay your tax. And work with the government and see. And that's what myself I'm going to do. I've been in Sierra Leone nearly every year. And to make sure that I see my people, work with them, listen to some of them. And if I can help, then I help. If I don't, then I don't. So, yes, it's difficult. I think we should change the kind of system we have currently. People just live in the diaspora and go back home, then they offer them a job. I think that should change.
In your manifesto as well, you mentioned the right of Sierra Leoneans in the diaspora actually participating in voting in Sierra Leone. That has been an issue for the past 2 elections in Sierra Leone. How would you facilitate Sierra Leoneans in the diaspora to actively involve?
You know, it's really sad. Democracy is all over now. We have a lot of countries in Africa now do allow their citizens to vote, to make sure that they help choosing a leader. When you don't take part in choosing your leader and someone chooses that leader for you, democracy is somewhere being stolen off. And if I become an APC chairman, I will work. It's a priority to me anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how long it will take, but I will work with the government or whosoever in power to make sure that we establish a system. First of all, let me say something. It's not in my manifesto. Sierra Leone passports. Yeah. As a lawyer, immigration lawyer, we do find a lot of difficulties in accessing Sierra Leone passport.
How?
Because before, a couple of years ago, when you want to renew your passport, you get it through the embassy. You don't have to send your passport from back home for it to be done when you're not there.
Okay.
I think those are things we need to change immediately. I think I'll speak to the CIO himself and see whether we can draw up proposals how we can bring this system. I know some of the reason I've been told is about other nationality accessing our passport.
In the UK?
Yeah.
But how would that be possible?
Well, I don't know. That's what I'll have to sit down with the CIO and the internal affairs minister, the interior minister, and make sure that I learn a lot from them, what help I can offer to make sure that these things don't happen and we strengthen the security on that side. We now have a biometric system.
Yes, you do.
So it's difficult. So we have to make sure that Sierra Leone in the diaspora get their passport from here. They should go and complete the application form at the embassy, at the consulate department, get their passport back here, pay the actual fee they need to pay. Then on the issue of voting, I think it's something we have to work together. It's a cross-board, including the other parties, the SLPP and other parties. It's a cross-board thing I'll put across them, and then we'll see how we can work these things to happen. I think it's very important for us. We are over 500,000 now.
In the UK or
I think,
in the whole of the diaspora?
I think
Europe.
In the UK, or we are more than 250,000 now here.
So will your rights be based on your status in the UK? Because you might be in the UK but you don't have a status to stay in the UK. Is this part of the statistics you're mentioning, or it's just the broadened statistics of people who are in UK from Sierra Leone?
Yeah, whether you have a status or not, as long as you're in Sierra Leone, you're in the UK. And that's my statistics I'm basing on.
Okay, would that mean that's the same statistic that will have to vote?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What is the
as long as you're Sierra Leonean.
So what is legitimacy behind that? If you are in the UK illegally, why would you have to vote legally in an election that you're not supposed to be partaking in anyway?
Well, one is not a UK election we are talking about. We are talking about Sierra Leone elections. So as a Sierra Leonean, if you're taking part in a Sierra Leonean election, it's not illegal. That's your right.
No, it's your rights, but your rights to stay in the UK is not legitimate. So why will your rights to vote out of the UK will be legitimate?
It is legitimate because even if someone hasn't got right, because it's a Commonwealth citizen, yeah, and under the Commonwealth, you have the right to vote as a member of the Commonwealth. Even the recent referendum, those who don't have papers, but because they are Commonwealth citizens, they are registered. Even though they don't have status in the UK, but they still vote in the referendum. So why not? As a Commonwealth citizen, you have the right to vote, whether you have status here or not. I will be advocating that.
So you'll be advocating for the same system to be reflected on the Sierra Leone side as well?
Yes.
You don't have to be legitimately staying in the UK for you to have that.
As long as it's a Sierra Leonean election, you have the right to vote, whether you're legitimate here or not.
Okay.
Yeah, we have people from Guinea, Liberia, who live in Sierra Leone because they naturalized now. They are part of the system. Some of them don't even. So, but they still vote. They make decisions that you don't even accept.
But I think that's another that's another debating question, so, which I think will not be taking part in what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
But let's move on swiftly. Your current leader and chairman and president of Sierra Leone is Dr. Bakarr. Apart from him as your political head for the APC, who will be your next or your second political mentor and why?
I think it's a very difficult question to answer at the moment. We have a lot of people with good intention in the party. We have talent in the party. And I think after Bakarr, APC, there is one thing about APC I always love. After the convention, we always have one person.
Sure.
And when that person comes, that will be... But let me say something. My mentor is always my father.
All right.
Yes. My father is my mentor. So, on the issue of the other side, when the party comes together in a convention and say, this is the person we want, we all toe the line. So, we all seen the aspirant, people with intentions to say they want to be the next leader. We should encourage them. We should not rush to decision. We should look, observe, before we make up our minds. Because we want somebody who come there with good governance, with changes. We're looking for someone. Where Bakarr will stop someone to take the baton from there.
Okay. And
that baton is not an easy baton. We want somebody to carry Sierra Leone baton forward and the flag of Sierra Leone, green, white, and blue. Okay. Yeah.
So thank you very much for your interview. And would you like to give your final message to people who will be voting for you come Sunday?
Comrades, Sunday the 17th of July, 2016. I urge you to come out in force and vote for Lugbu Kamara. I am the right candidate who can change the face of politics in the UK. Why? Because of common sense. I believe in unity. I believe across the board executive. I believe in bringing everybody together and make sure that we work for the interests of the party. We are a big party. We are one party. We are one family. I love this party. I love my country, Sierra Leone. I want to make difference. But without your support, I will not achieve those differences. I have a manifesto which I will pledge to you. As the old says, come out and vote. If you don't come out and vote, you will not exercise your right. So once again, I urge you, I ask you to come out there and vote for the person you believe, and that person is Abu Black. Thank you very much. God bless you. Mokuru oyonemu, osamu ade yakala.